Hi, welcome to Enter the Bunker, where we launch you into thriving. Each week we talk about a different virtue that can be used as a building brick to build your own personal bunkers. We share personal stories, as well as tips and tricks to help you thrive instead of survive. So sit down, relax, and enter the bunker.
And welcome to Enter the Bunker. This week's building brick is purity. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we're going to go over the meaning of purity. All right.
Here we go.
A process of freeing ourselves day to day from influence and attachments that keep us from being true to ourselves and what we know is right. Physical and spiritual cleanliness.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Don't be dirty.
Don't be dirty. So do you feel like there's a lot of purity in your life when you read that, like compared to how you live your life?
Absolutely not.
No? How so? Do you not have a process of freeing yourself from day-to-day influences?
I don't really know. No, I don't, I guess. I mean, having a bath, that'd be a process, wouldn't it?
Sure.
But I don't do that every time I'm having, I don't know. Attachments that keep us from being true to ourselves. Physical, I don't know. I don't think I'm very pure.
So physical, I mean, there's physical purity.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's the spiritual purity, right?
Okay.
And so how do you keep yourself pure physically? That's probably easier for people to understand. So how do you do it?
I don't know.
You take a shower, right?
Okay,
Please. I hope you do.
I was so lost. Okay, yeah, I take a shower.
Okay.
I brush my teeth morning and night. Keep my kids clean. That's their physical purity as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Brush. I don't know. Get ready in the morning.
Do you clean your clothes?
Yes.
Okay.
Wash clothes and dishes and stuff.
And do you clean your house?
Yes.
Right.
Most definitely.
Right. So
My car, on the other hand, is a different story. But
so how, when you do this cleaning, are you keeping from attachments and keeping true to yourself? Do you feel like it's to take care of yourself, so that you're in good health? Or
No.
is it okay? So
it's more to feel good.
to feel good.
Yes.
Okay, so could you say that purity might be a type of a feeling?
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never thought of it that way.
Okay.
But yeah, clean, I mean, yeah, even cleaning that's just not having a shower makes you feel good, obviously, but cleaning my house, that makes me feel good too. When having things nice and clean and tidy.
Right.
So what did you ask? If it was a what?
Is it a feeling?
Feeling.
Can you almost sense like you say you're referring to cleaning things in the house as
Yeah.
being something that feels good.
Yeah. Makes
So
you feel
then
good.
Is purity then a feeling? Because to feel pure, right?
Yeah, I guess
it
is.
I think what you're describing is that as you're cleaning your physical surroundings and you're bringing orderliness actually
Yes.
to your life, then you start to feel that inside,
Okay.
because from without so within,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so that act of just the cleanliness and cleansing out whatever you need to, whether it's just washing your hair or doing something like that, feels good.
Right.
Because it's actually it actually reflects back on your spiritual state.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So have you ever seen somebody who's not really taking a shower very often?
Yes.
And they're constantly a mess? They kind of have themselves pitted with all kinds of stuff all over around them.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And is their attitude one of feeling good, or is it generally negative?
Generally, most 100% negative.
Right. And that's because from without so within. Right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and a lot of people, and it goes the other way around too. It's from within, so without. Right.
Right.
So if your attitude is one of pure, if you are pure,
Yeah.
if you have purity in your heart,
Yeah.
then you want to be clean. You want to feel that freshness, and you manifest it
Right.
in your life.
Yeah.
But if your mind is really scattered and you're very and you have all kinds of disjointed thoughts, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
then that'll just be manifest in your world, and you won't have that kind of cleanliness in your world. You won't have that kind of purity, and you'll be sick all the time, and you'll be constantly having headaches and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
As you're sitting here explaining this, I actually have a question, but I think we'll get into it with part 2. But I'm sitting here thinking, well, what if you want to have, what is it, pureness?
Purity.
What if you want to have purity?
Right.
But yeah, the negative is kind of taken over more in your brain. So I guess with part 2, we go over how to usually.
When we get into the how-tos, we
Yeah.
can talk about
So
that.
I'm kind of curious about that, because sometimes you want to have that, right?
Yeah.
Like even lately, the last couple of weeks, I've kind of found myself in like a negative headspace. So when you first asked me, do you think you're a purity person? What is it? Whatever you said.
Do you have purity in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
My first thought was kind of like, no, but the last couple of days I have been in a different mindset where I'm wanting to make some changes in my life, and I started writing things down, and so it gets there. Anyways, we'll get into more than that in part 2.
Right.
So let's go over some quotes.
Okay.
We have 4 quotes. The first one is, purity of soul cannot be lost without consent. Saint Augustine. The second one, purity of heart is blooming the same colors in the middle of the wilderness when no one sees you. Vanna Botta, Italian writer, actor. 3, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. Mahatma Gandhi. And the last one, 4, return to the purity of your innocence where you are enchanted with life, give love for no reason, surround yourself with others doing the same. Miguel Ruiz, a spiritual teacher and author. So, which one's your favorite? Or which one do you think speaks to you the most?
So I like Mahatma Gandhi's best. So I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet.
Yeah, I like that one.
So the reason why I like that one is primarily because a lot of people tend to not necessarily understand that the way that they like when they're taking in, think about all the stuff that we take in the course of a day from media and people around us and all kinds of things.
So much.
And the fact is that we have a filter, and that like your mind, it manifests what you give it. Right. There's a term in computer language called garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Right.
I've
So
heard
like
it.
whatever you feed to the computer, it's just going to give you right back.
Right.
Your mind works the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And so what Mahatma Gandhi's like speaking to is like, why would you allow somebody with dirty feet to be walking around in your mind? Right. Because it's up to you to decide that. And he's saying, I will not allow anyone. Right. So it's really a choice at the end of the day to be able to build that building brick, and to be able to keep the purity of your mind, so from others being able to fill it with other things. Because as soon as the mind is like, there's another writing that I know that's called the mind's like a fertile soil.
Okay.
Right? And whatever you plant, it will grow.
Right.
Right. So if you keep on taking in certain messages in the course of a day, then your mind is taking it in and saying, okay, I got to grow this.
Yeah.
Like I gotta work on this. I gotta make this happen.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't know the difference between like what might be fantasy and what is real. It's just taking it in and saying, okay, I gotta act on this.
Or what might be important versus not important.
Yeah, exactly. So in the course of a day, as long as you can keep a filter to your mind in terms of like saying, dismiss this, don't allow that. I'm only going to allow this. Then you allow to kind of negate these things that are coming to you.
Yeah. So
that your mind doesn't take them in and just be like, yeah, that's something that I should work on, or yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
All these things just like they will just sprout other things that just have that'll turn to unintended consequences in your life.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're thinking these things that you just wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
But the fact is that a lot of people with dirty feet in the world, so you should be on guard. Like it's better to be guarded in terms of what you take in, because that's how you have purity of mind and purity of soul, right?
Yeah. That's interesting. I had a different take on it, but you got more deeper, so we'll go with your way. I think my favorite, I liked that one too, but I think my favorite other than that one was Purity of, the one by Vanna Bonta. Purity of heart is blooming the same colors in the middle of the wilderness when no one sees you. So I like that one because I guess a lot of people, they can put on a show of purity.
Yeah.
But this quote here means like when you're by yourself, you have the same purity in you and around you that you're giving when you're in a room full of 100 people, say.
Yeah.
So I like that one just because it means that you're being real. Like it's not, if you have purity, then you're having it all the time.
That's
And-
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'm sure that it doesn't matter. Like, for example, we just talked about like taking a shower and keeping yourself clean,
Yeah.
right? Do you do that only when you're around other people, or do you do that when you're on your own too?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
Right? So it's the exact same thing. So I'm sure that somebody who actually has purity wants to keep themselves clean and so forth all the time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mahatma Gandhi said, "I will not let anyone walk through my mind with dirty feet." The definition I read earlier says freeing ourselves from the day-to-day influences, being true to ourselves, and to know what is right. Same what you're saying. What better illustration of purity is there than to ensure we free ourselves from other people's dirty feet and stay true to ourselves? Being able to block out external influences and stay on your path is the essence of purity. Is it easy? Of course not. But don't ever ask that question about anything. Nothing worth having is easy. Ask yourself, is it worth it? The answer to that is sounding like a big old yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that again kind of goes into what I was saying. Like you may want to do it, but it's going to be hard or maybe you have something else holding you back, but I'm curious how we're going to gain more purity in our life in the next episode. Yeah, do you have anything else about this? I feel like I just had a thought, but I can't remember.
So I think that, is it worth it? Yes. So the truth is that a lot of people don't know how to gain more purity in life because it's a process.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's bringing a new process into your life so that you have that building brick, and then of course you gain all the cleanliness and the clarity of mind and the clarity of in your life. And truthfully, I think you gain more respect too. I think when you look at somebody you can tell right away when somebody's like very, very clean and they're orderly. And when you have that, I think you gain a lot of respect and people appreciate it when they're around you.
So when we first started talking about purity too, because we've been talking about purity for ourselves, right? Like, or what? Sorry, you just said something. There's physical purity and spirit. Okay, so
Physical and spiritual.
yeah. When we first started talking purity, again, I was saying, you asked me the question, and I was like, no. But that's too because I was thinking purity, like a person who doesn't swear has a potty mouth, right? Because
Right.
that's like dirty.
Right.
Potty mouth. So I guess what I'm maybe trying to say is like, there's other forms of purity. It's not just physical or
No.
spiritual. What other form? Or are those the only two?
Well, when we talk about spiritual purity,
Yeah, like what?
right? The truth is, like you just mentioned, like your language.
That'd be parts of spiritual?
That would be part of
Oh, okay.
spiritual.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was curious
Yeah.
about.
So if you have, so the truth is like where you get potty mouth and stuff like that from.
Or
is-
like, what about your mind thoughts? That'd be spiritual as well,
that'd be
right?
spiritual as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, okay, cool. So there's definitely a difference there. I think I'm definitely more physical purity now that we've talked about it versus spiritual, because I do have a potty mouth and I have negative thoughts sometimes, and I have like roaring thoughts inside my head, like anger ones, but they don't come out. They must go through like a filter and come out more pure or something.
Well, yeah, that's what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Is basically it's a process.
Yeah.
So that you're able to free yourself from your potty mouth.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's
But I
what-
do also, and you're kind of talking to like the dirty feet in your mind. So like, so there's a type of person like me who likes to help people. So I want my friends to come to me when they are not feeling pure, I guess, or when they're having negative thoughts in their head. I want them to come to me, but that's their dirty feet in my mind, right? I'm letting them walk there. But it's making me feel more pure because I'm being able to help them. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes and no.
Because I guess it's not, I want it there. So it's not necessarily, and like you said, you need to pick and choose what you want.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm just going all into this. My head's going woo right now.
Well, it's one thing to be empathetic and sympathetic.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to empathize with your friends
Right.
when they have issues, but
Yeah.
you don't own whatever it is that they have.
Right. And
Right.
that's the difference.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Okay. And that's when I said, when we were talking earlier about important versus unimportant, because sometimes things will come up that you want to help them, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to come first or other things come first. So,
Right.
all right. That's it for part 1 of purity. That was an interesting one. Join us for part 2 and how to become more pure.
We'll go through those processes. So we'll see you then.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Enter the Bunker. Make sure to follow us on Instagram where you can share your story and also look at behind the scenes of how we make our podcast. You can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube by simply searching Enter the Bunker. Tune in next time as we launch into thriving.